Let's go ahead and get this started. It's a pretty full agenda. Would like to welcome everybody on behalf of the Los Altos Chamber. This is the Government Affairs Committee. My name is Joe Maletti. I'm a Executive Vice President with Avid Bank and also the board chair for the Chamber this year. And, today I'd like to welcome all the candidates for City Council in Los Altos. This is kind of a fun time of the year, and I guess additionally fun given what's going on in the world today. So I want to thank everybody for showing up, and the candidates will get to share their views on why they're running and what they'd like to do on their agenda for the City Council. The format here, to keep it equal and balanced, everybody will get 7 minutes of equal time. The Zoom meetings do allow kind of a good cutoff, so be mindful of that. The presentations will be limited to the 7 minutes. There'll be one minute warning, and then a final 15-second warning, and then that'll be it. At the beginning, we're going to draw the names randomly, so there's no particular order here. Kim or Nicole will be drawing those things and calling the candidates or their representatives to give a presentation. And then we will try to wrap this thing up as soon as possible on time, which is usually 10 o'clock. These are basically presentations. Unfortunately, we don't have time for a long Q&A. There's quite 7 candidates here, so this will be just a presentation without a Q&A. I think that's about it. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Kim. Anything else you want to add to that? And again, welcome, and look forward to hearing from the candidates.
Great. Good morning. I'm Kim Mosley, President of the Los Altos Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I did receive confirmation from all 7 candidates that they would be participating in one way or another. Lynette Lee Ng was unable to personally attend, but asked permission to have a statement read during this session by a representative. I'm not sure is there a representative that's on this call at this time? I didn't think so. So I will add, so I have the names here of each candidate. So Lynette Liang, Terry Couture, Kuljit Kokot, Sally Meadows, Alex Rubashevsky, Scott Spielman, and Jonathan Weinberg into my little bucket. And we'll draw out the names in order. Nicole, if you notice that someone joins the call later, send me a message, please, just in case it is a representative for.
Yeah. And just a reminder to the speakers, so the warning, I'll be keeping track of the time. So if you see this red folder, the first time it's going to mean, here, I'll flip it so it's the slightly less red means you have 1 minute. The really red means you have 15 seconds. So that's your little warning sign.
Okay. And so this is our order. I have Lynette Lee Ng first. I have Jonathan Weinberg second. Kuljit Kokot third. Terry Couture fourth. Alex Rubashevsky fifth. Sally Meadows sixth. And that leaves Scott Spielman seventh. Okay. And I guess unless there is a representative on the line for Lynette Lee Ng, then we'll go ahead and proceed with Jonathan Weinberg.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity to participate today. It really is an honor to appear before you alongside so many impressive candidates who all love Los Altos as much as I do. Let me start by telling you all a little bit about me. My wife, Edith, and I have lived in Los Altos since 2009. We are raising 2 children, a 12-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter, 1 dog and 4 chickens at our home in Grant Park. I'm an attorney with the law firm Finkelstein and Fuji in San Mateo. We specialize in real estate law and trust and probate law. For the past 5 years or so, I've served on the city's Parks and Recreation Commission, and I've had the honor to serve as both the chair and the vice chair of the commission. I'm also a member of the Hillview Community Center Design Development Working Group, and other volunteer work that I've done for our community is been a volunteer with Lawyers in the Library in Mountain View, and I've also volunteered my time as an attorney with Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto's free representation for tenants at eviction mandatory settlement conferences. Before I go on, I would very much like to acknowledge the Chamber's contributions to Los Altos. The Small Business Loan Program has been a tremendous success. My understanding is $5,000 has been distributed to something like 75 businesses throughout the city. The street closings from Thursday evening through Sundays has helped contributed to revitalizing the vibrancy of downtown. And the Los Altos magazine that the Chamber produces is a wonderful document. It's beautiful and really a credit. So thank you for all that the Chamber has done for the city and all that you will continue to do. Let me turn now to why I'm running for council. I am extremely concerned about the direction the current council is leading us. I think the residents and businesses of our city need new leadership for a better Los Altos. I want to be a voice for the residents and taxpayers of our city and collaborate with my colleagues so that we can address the challenges of today and position our city for an even better future. My record demonstrates that I have the skills and experience necessary to contribute to the success of the city and to make it a great place to live, raise a family, and conduct business. Now, Los Altos, of course, has several business districts, but I would like to take a moment and talk about downtown. Our downtown is charming, but it's also 70 years old in its design. The way that we, as a society, buy things and order food has changed, so our downtown really needs to change along with the times. The downtown vision is an amazing document, but I see it as an aspiration, not as a blueprint. I believe that for our businesses to thrive and for the needs of the residents to be met, our downtown must change, but it is not the place of the city council to impose that change. The stakeholders must get together and reach a consensus as to what changes will be most beneficial. And when I say stakeholders, I mean the residents, the businesses, and the property owners. Council can provide a forum and incentive for the stakeholders to participate, and then council can use its tools, zoning and others, in order to help facilitate those changes that will be most beneficial to the city. So let me turn now to the question of housing. Los Altos simply must find a way to meet its RHNA obligations. When we don't meet our legal obligations, we lose the ability to control the shape and scope of development in our city. Moreover, I believe that we have a moral obligation to address the housing crisis in Silicon Valley. The housing crisis has led to gentrification, urban sprawl, climate change, and I could go on. These are not esoteric problems that are affecting some people in a different part of the country or a different part of the world. They are affecting us in Los Altos every day, right here. Our leadership's failure to address this issue has led to doomed litigation, costing the taxpayers hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Simply put, we must do our part to effect real change. And that means that Los Altos must allow some higher density housing where it makes sense to do so. And I'm not just talking about low income or BMR housing. Let's also address housing for the missing middle. There should be a place in our city for our school teachers, first responders, city staff, and the employees of our city's businesses to share in our community. I want a council that is honest with the residents about our obligations. I want a council that seriously works to help find solutions, not accounting gimmicks that paper over the problem. I love the character of our city. It's one of the reasons that I moved here from Palo Alto. But things don't stay static. Change is happening all around us. And if we do not manage change, then change will manage us. If I am elected to council, I will be an advocate for consistent and just processes throughout the city. The city must have a system of analysis in place when dealing with any stakeholder or customer. We cannot develop the city by variance. Commissions should not apply one set of rules to some set of questions they face and a different set of rules to another. A failure to institute consistent processes leads to confusion, anger, disparate treatment, and injustice. So let me turn now away from one of the critical issues facing us and talk a little bit about my values. Something that's very important to me is working to help change the tenor of political debate in Los Altos. Somebody once said something to the effect of, it is possible to disagree with someone's point of view without being disagreeable. Political discourse in this city has really taken a turn for the worse. On too many issues, there is an us versus them mentality. The pattern that we see is someone or an interest group attacks a policy. And if they're losing the debate on the merits, then they attack the process that seeks to facilitate that policy. Slow it down, try to sabotage it. If that doesn't work, then they attack the people who are the proponents of that policy. I absolutely hate it. I believe that politics does not have to be a zero-sum game. Our leaders have an obligation to both explain their thinking to the residents and other stakeholders in Los Altos, and to listen actively to what other people are saying, even if what they are saying is difficult or upsetting. In my opinion, the true measure of a great leader is not the degree to which she or he is willing to defend a particular position, but the degree to which he or she is willing to listen to other voices and perhaps modify or evolve their position. That is the cornerstone of respect and cooperation. Our residents deserve that. Our business community deserves that. Our property owners deserve that. Of course, there are a lot of other issues that I would love to be able to talk to you about today. I encourage everyone in this forum to contact me. I'm happy to sit down and continue this conversation. In closing, let me say that it really is an honor to be on this virtual stage with so many qualified candidates. And if elected, I hope that we are able to establish a dialogue and help me to understand what your concerns are and how we can address them. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Jonathan. So apparently there is a representative for Lynette Lee-Ing on the call, which is Angie Cardoza.
Correct.
So there you are, Angie. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, members of the Chamber of Commerce. I truly am honored to be here before you. My name is Angie Cardoza, and I'm a founding member of the Greater San Jose Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I served on different areas of the Chamber throughout my 12 years of service with the Chamber. So this morning, Lynette would really have preferred to be here with you all today, but she is an essential worker at the San Francisco airport, where air traffic safety is dependent on her. So that's why she's not able to be here. However, I am honored and pleased that I was able to represent her today. And I've got her statement for you, okay? And so for those of you who don't know Lynette, she's currently a sitting council member and was the mayor in 2019. She's grateful for the opportunity to speak to you all and through her. And here is her statement. So she says, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the Chamber. Our downtown and business communities are the backbone of our city, bringing vitality and service to our residents and essential sales and hotel taxes to our coffers. So during my current term, Council voted for city code and amendments allowing more service-related businesses to meet the needs of the residents, business, and property owners. We relocated parking spaces to increase the number of spaces available for our patrons. We closed down portions of State and Main Street for the Open Streets programs to encourage safe patronage of restaurants and shops while meeting the guidelines of the county health director. We encourage staff to participate in meetings with stakeholders so that we can, council would be better understand how we would assist and provide supporting during the COVID-19 pandemic. The result was that the small business grants program, to date, we have provided 67 grants. As mayor, I recognized and promoted new businesses with proclamations and ribbons, cutting ceremonies that were published in our local newspapers. The unanimous actions taken by the City Council demonstrates my commitment and support to maintain the vitality of downtown and the 6 other business communities throughout the city. The pandemic is not over and many of our local businesses are still struggling. Moving forward, the City Council will have to look for additional and creative ways to ensure safe and successful reopening. I will bring all my experience, understanding, and knowledge to our recovery. So I will have that effort behind me. Listen and understand the needs of our businesses and property owners. This I profess that I will do. I will be a responsible fiduciary steward of public funds through regular review of our revenues and expenditures and press for greater budget accountability. Look for strategic and flexible ways to allocate city energies and resources for the betterment of the business community. Continue to provide or prioritize safety for the well-being of all of those who live and work in our city. Promote transparency, integrity, and accountability in the service of all my constituents. I'm grateful to the Chamber of Commerce for the outstanding work you have done and continue to do to support our business community. If you have any questions or ideas how I can serve you, please feel free to contact me. And I think you all have Lynette's information. So with that, I want to thank you again and for the opportunity to be able to address all of you. Blessings to all, and everybody stay safe. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate that. Next up, Kuljit, you ready to roll?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running. And after that, I would like to go into a little bit more detail into some areas of my focus, particularly how we need to support our small businesses in Los Altos. So I moved here in 1989 and have raised my family in this town. My two kids are in their 20s, and my wife and I are both realtors now. I spent about 30 plus years in tech and senior management roles, so I also mentor some startups, etc., and have some investments in them. I've been on the financial commission for the last 5 years or so, and I've been the chair for the last 2. This role has obviously given me some valuable insight into how our city runs, what's important, and what are the main issues ahead. I'm running mostly to be a unifying force in the council so we can make effective decisions together. I think you heard Jonathan speak to this also. I believe all of us who choose to live here have many shared values and hopes and dreams and aspirations, and we definitely can find common ground and compromise to reach good solutions for the betterment of the city in the long run. Actually, I want to tell you a little bit more about, I want to quickly wind you back to 30 years back and tell you a little story. So about 30 years ago, when my wife and I moved here, we were quite apprehensive really about how we will fit in, how would we build a community, and we didn't know anyone here. And we quickly realized walking around town that the character and the soul of the town emanates from small businesses. So to feel connected, we actually bought a small business. So since for about a decade, Minnie and I ran the Cranberry Scoop, and now Ellen, of course, runs that with great pride. That experience of being a small business owner in Los Altos not only gave us a connection to the new place we were seeking, but it also made us understand how important it is, how important small businesses are to Los Altos. That time as the owner of the Scoop really solidified our connection to Los Altos, and this will always be a big part of our lives. Now let me talk a little bit about some of my key goals, things that I'm concerned about. First and foremost, financial stability. As you all know, we have a little reduction in our revenue particularly from sales and occupancy tax right now. And at the same time, we've embarked on a fairly large project, so we have some cash flow concerns. And on top of it, other expenses are increasing, particularly legal fees that have actually tripled over last year. In these times, it's necessary to have someone on the council that can provide strong oversight, strengthen our policies, and systematically analyze the impact of every expenditure. And as the chairman of the Financial Commission, I fully understand our finances and I'm qualified to guide our city through these hard economic times. This includes not just the budgetary part or the financial part, but also in decision-making and collaborating, because we don't want to end up in more and more of these lawsuits that stem from the council bending to political pressure. I'll ensure that council abides by all local and state laws and exhausts all other options before proceeding to litigation. Second, a little bit more about this council collaboration. I really feel that we don't have to agree on everything. We have to have different points of view, and it's quite okay. However, we can't be split on every decision. Lengthy meetings dedicated to a single topic and others getting ignored. We need better leadership, I believe, to approach this role as the leaders of this town. The council really needs to act like a board and collectively guide our expert staff to make executive decisions that they're actually hired to do. We need to strengthen our processes and discipline for everyone to play their position and trust that the rest of the team will do their best. This is, I think, a significant shift in terms of how we view the role of the council. So lastly, a topic that's of concerns me a lot. How do we go from being quaint, cute, and charming, which is not bad, but to being sort of sophisticated and chic, and most importantly, essential to the lives of our residents. Our small business districts and the public spaces around them, how do they become our living rooms where we gather and meet and greet every day? While doing so, we also shop and dine in our own town instead of online or in towns around us. So, obviously with the open streets and other things, the impact has been quite good. I see that the tide is turning. People are showing up downtown, particularly. But as the temperature falls, we're gonna have to try some new ideas. So in the long run, of course, the downtown vision plan will take us there, and we need similar ideas for the other districts as well. But in the near future, I believe we're going to try several new ideas that make our shopping districts and destinations as a destination for our residents. I think today's New York Times has an article about small business chambers helping the small businesses in lots of towns, particularly there's an article about Charlotte and Detroit. But their budgets are also huge. I mean, they're spending $20 to $100 million in programs to help small businesses in their towns to keep them vital. So in closing, I'm committed to the long-term well-being of Los Altos. I want to sense the pride and the belonging of civic engagement by all the residents. I want everyone to know their neighbor. I want people to get off their Zoom calls and walk over to a coffee shop in the middle of the day because they know they're going to meet somebody there. And we can't get that kind of connection online. So we know that. Besides of these few points, I also care a lot about affordable housing, traffic control, parks, good infrastructure, which is key to our town, and in the long run, a better library and the safety of our residents. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kuljit. Appreciate that. Okay, it looks like it is Terry. Are you ready to go, Terry?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today and listening to all of us. I grew up in Los Altos. We moved here when I was 5. I grew up on Highland Circle. And after I went to school, I couldn't afford to live in Los Altos. My first house was down in San Jose. The dogs lived in the house and the lady lived in a trailer in the back. And I worked my way back to Los Altos after many, many different homes, always been in real estate. The career didn't start until 31 years ago. Los Altos is a destination community for our residents and the envy of many. I know I've helped many people buy houses here. Families grow up here and then stay their entire lives. The trees, the open spaces, and all the different diverse groups of vibrant people make Los Altos a very special place. I want to help keep that serenity, the community feel by representing you on our city council. We must realize the impacts of and the uncertainties of this pandemic and also the declining revenues for our uncertain business climate. We have a responsibility to maintain the city services, to enhance our parks, to improve our streets, protect the safety of our children and our residents. This is going to require thorough research, careful consideration of all the pros and cons from all the experts, of course, strict fiscal discipline, input from all the residents who live here, and then collaborative decisions with the other council members to make the final calls. From 2011 to 2015, I was on the Santa Clara County Planning Commission, and the commission is the primary decision-making source for Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors on land use policies. From 2011, I've served on Santa Clara County Value Hearings Officer, which evaluates the residential appeals boards for residents against the assessor's office. For over 30 years, I've worked in the private sector. Many of my jobs have required fiscal conservation and goal-setting priorities. It's important for all of us to remember that the residents are first. I have business skills and knowledge of our city to be effective. Communication under pressure is a daily opportunity in my job. I've lived through economic downturns and recoveries in this valley, and I will work diligently to help guide our city through these current and uncertainties. Our city will reemerge from these times because we all treasure these neighborhoods, the businesses, and the amenities that make Los Altos a wonderful place to live. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Next up is Alex. Alex, you ready to roll?
Yes, I am.
All right. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Alex Rubashevsky. I thank you for the opportunity to meet with you and present why I'm running. So I'm a practicing real estate broker and general contractor with my headquarters in Los Altos. I grew up here and I've been building houses since I was 17. I attended Mountain View High School and went to Foothill College and then graduated from Chico State with a degree in construction management. And since graduating, I've been involved in
Excuse me, Alex, excuse me. Is there a mic problem for everyone on the line, or is it just me, everyone? Okay, so Alex, I think there might be an issue with your microphone. You're going in and out as you're talking, and I want to make sure that our attendees can hear all of the words that you're saying.
Can we skip me for 1 minute and I'll get a microphone?
Sure.
Get back to you right afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna grab a different mic. My apologies.
I think he said, should we skip him and go to Sally? Is that right?
Oh, is that what he said? I'm sorry.
I think so.
I think that's what I heard, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's do that then. All right. Sally, are you ready?
I'm ready, sure.
All right.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you, chamber members and visitors. And thank you particularly to the chamber for all you're doing to help our town make it through this, let's hope, unique circumstances. We don't want to have this go on forever. So why am I running? I think my reasons, at least the first reason for running, is similar across all the candidates. This is my community. I care deeply about it. I'm running because we need effective and fiscally responsible leadership. It's up to you to judge what that means to you. We need council members who have a vision for Los Altos today, but also accept responsibility and stewardship for tomorrow. So I am well prepared to serve because this is an extension of my community service. So let me tell you about my connections in the community and my service. I've lived here for 24 years, raised my children here, and they attended the public schools, Montclair, Almond, Egan, and Los Altos High School. And I've spent the last decade serving in local government, nonprofits, and other organizations. Let me tell you a little bit about which one. So I am wrapping up my first term on Planning Commission. It's a 4.5 years on Planning Commission. I served a term, 4 years on Design Review Commission. I was on the Community Advisory Council for El Camino Hospital, on the board and served as president of Mentor Tutor Connection, and I'm still mentoring through that organization. I have a young lady who's a senior this year at Los Altos High School, and we were matched when she's a sophomore. So I think actually she's probably a mentor to me more so than I am to her. We learn a lot from each other. I'm a member of Los Altos Women's Caucus, Los Altos Rotary Club, and served on their board as Youth Services Director. And although this isn't in the community, it's something that I'm very involved in. I was elected as chair of the board of a group called Civilian Ex-POWs. This is actually a chapter of AXPOW, American Ex-POWs, and it's a group of former internees that were held by the Japanese during the occupation of the Philippines in World War II. Now, you may think I look like I'm old enough to have been interned during World War II, but I wasn't. It was actually my father and my grandparents who were held over 3 years. And this is a project I started on with my father to preserve his memories, and I ended up on the board, and I was elected commander, which is really board chair, but you can salute if you want. And I serve that organization, and I'm very proud to be preserving that history. So that's not this community, but it is a broader part of the community that I'm involved in. So professionally, I'm a retired biopharmaceutical marketing executive. I had a 25-year business career. And I say business career because I actually started out in the lab because I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry. And that's from University of Maryland. I think Coljeet and I are fellow Terrapins. Just nod if that's correct. Yes, okay, fear the turtle. And so I worked with companies including Roche, Sios, Syntex, and SRI International. I have deep experience in marketing, market research, and analysis. So I was responsible for strategic planning and assessing the long-term potential of medicines in research and development. And so what that taught me is how to plan today to deliver results tomorrow. I think that translates well for a role on City Council. So my priorities for Los Altos: fiscal responsibility. And what I mean by that is let's eliminate these lawsuits that are not consistent with Los Altos zoning and state laws. When we make rulings that are not consistent with our own zoning, we will lose lawsuits or be forced to settle them. This is very expensive. I want, and we all want, positive health, economic, and social justice outcomes. And again, this is sort of this perfect storm, imperfect storm that we're all in right now between the pandemic, the economic crisis that is precipitating, and also the social justice issues that have come to the forefront yet again that we need to address. So I support affordable housing consistent with our zoning and state laws. I support strong processes to promote listening and transparent data-driven decision-making. I think we need to strengthen and support city staff. They do the work, and the laws in the state are changing such that more and more of our processes rely on city staff to do their jobs and do it under very restrictive and tight timeframes. If we don't support them and help them do the best jobs they can, we will all fail. So let's work on working with staff and making sure they can do the jobs that we all need them to do. I also think I also have a priority for environmentally sound policies for Los Altos, but we also need to be responsible so that residents have access to infrastructure during public safety emergencies. So my slogan is, it's about all of us. And so what do I mean when I say that? When I say that, I mean, it's not about me. I'm not running for me. I'm not running for my friends either. And I'm not going to represent just the people who vote for me. I'm going to represent all of us. Now, you can't make everybody happy, but I will listen to everybody and respect all stakeholder input and make decisions in the best interest of the community. So what I bring to council is a proven commitment to our community. I've done the work to understand our issues and the tools we have to address them. I have strong experience in land use and housing, a strategic planning background. I will have little to no learning curve to serve on council, and I offer common sense leadership. So this is my offer to keep serving our community, and your vote will say you accept that offer. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that. Alex, you think you're up and running?
He sent a message in the chat saying he thinks the mic on his laptop died. So he's trying to find another one, but not yet. So.
All right. All right. Well, sorry about that. I guess then move on to Scott. Are you ready?
And thank you, Chamber and small businesses and fellow candidates, for an opportunity to join you in talking about the future of Los Altos. I'd like to talk a little bit about me, but probably more about the small businesses and the businesses in our city. I believe that small businesses are really crucial, vital to our city, and this is an extremely important time to sustain them and revitalize them as we hopefully move beyond COVID, but when and where we do not know. Some background about me. My wife, Charis, and I have lived in Los Altos together for 33 years. We've raised our children here. They also went to public high schools, Egan and Los Altos. A number of those teachers are friends of mine. We were really privileged to have our children go through schools here. Going back further in my background, I received a master's in civil engineering from the University of Virginia, and I practiced civil engineering for 4 years. I did bridge design, building design, rapid transit design, feasibility work. I worked with the governor's office in Massachusetts, where I did work to extend a rapid transit line. Work with the leaders of the transportation authorities in Boston. I got my first taste of politics there. After engineering, I went to Stanford. I got a degree in business and MBA, and worked in high-tech marketing and sales for about 14 years. I did everything in marketing, from product management to market research, competitive analysis. I was director of marketing in a couple startups. I worked for a couple of large corporations as well. And so I do know how business works, and I do understand small business because I've been in different kinds of small businesses perhaps in our city, but I understand the pressures to make profits, to make payroll, to understand how you get your products and services out to market. My life has been characterized by volunteer work, and I have served in this community 15 years as a coach for boys and girls of basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, you name it. And it really taught me a lot, and it taught me certainly the value of positive reinforcement of kids, because kids are our future. I was a member of a service club, Kiwanis, for over a decade. There I was a board member for a number of years. I was president. I received an award as a distinguished president. And I loved the service work that we did at Kiwanis. In our city, I've been vice chairman of the Parks and Rec Commission for a couple of months, and have been involved in that for now about 1.5 years, dealing with tricky little issues that our city has chased for over 10 years, like dog parks and other things. Well, with that in mind, I want to turn now our conversation to small businesses. How can the city and the chamber and small businesses work more effectively together? I think this is a vital and one of the most pressing questions for our council and our city to answer. Our local businesses have suffered greatly during COVID, and I commend the work that council did and the city has done in conjunction with LACF to give the grants in the tune of about $370,000 to small businesses. I don't think it's enough. I think we're going to need to find more ways to do that. Even in the paper this morning, I read how still small businesses throughout America are struggling and suffering, and they're wondering how they're going to keep their doors open. Tens of thousands have gone out of businesses, and we have lost two that I really particularly enjoyed Red Berry and Davino's Florist. So small business impacts have come to our city. So with that in mind, what can we do? I don't have the magic bullet or the magic solution, but if elected, I would urge the small business community to work very closely with council to brainstorm and come up with a few things soon that we can do and implement quickly. The dynamics of our city are changing. Even as we speak, the city is changing. The city's changed its zoning codes to accept karate and yoga, physical retail, if you would, on our main street. And I think that was a wise decision, but we need to do more. People today are seeking more event-driven experiences, and I believe we need to encourage creative retail in our city to make it an attractive place for people to come from outside the city, not just inside the city. I suggest the city should consider using the first floor retail a little bit differently, perhaps to open up a retail lot to both front and rear different businesses, to have entrances and exits on the plazas. There are things that could be done that I think we should consider. I'd recommend that the chamber and its constituents do its own assessments of the small business needs in the city and present them to the city council periodically. A few years ago, the city did its downtown vision plan, and as one council member referred to it as aspirational, I think it had far too many ideas, and little of those ideas have been implemented from it. So I suggest that we focus and do a few things well, to set together with businesses and council priorities and do the first things well and work off of a priority list and budget to those priorities. Well, I have some specific ideas I haven't mentioned, and I've mentioned some that I think are small in nature but viable. I think the best ideas are yet to be considered. And if elected, I would hope that our city and business community would work more closely together. I see that the future of our city really depends on business vitality. We need all we can do to make our businesses effective. Now, with that in mind, let me just close with this. Our city needs listeners, people who hear all the constituents. It needs strategic thinkers, those who know how to create policy and serve the needs of constituents. It needs focus to the city priorities, teamwork, adaptability, results-oriented people, and people who are committed. This is a very demanding role as a city council member. So those are qualities that describe me. And so together, I, like others, believe we can do more. We need to work together for the good of our city. If elected, I promise that I will always listen and work with you to come up with solutions. I will be there to help our businesses. I will be there to help council and you to do all we can for our city. Thank you, and please consider voting for me on election day.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Did Alex get a chance to call in?
The phone number did come through.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, great.
There it is.
Okay. My sincerest apologies. I've been Zooming on this laptop for past couple months, and I have no idea what happened. So audio quality okay? Yes? Okay. Thank you. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone. Once again, my name is Alex Urbaszewski. I am a practicing real estate broker and general contractor with my headquarters in Los Altos. I've been building houses since I was 17 years old. I went to Mountain View High School, graduated from Mountain View High. I attended Foothill College, and then I graduated from Chico State with a degree in construction management. Since graduating, I've been involved in different development projects all around the Bay Area and around all of California. I've worked on basically the water supply of the greater Bay Area from Hetch Hetchy all the way to Crystal Springs, upgrading the pipelines. And at the same time, I've done minor bathroom remodels in Los Altos, Mountain View, all the way out to Alamo, Hayward, and so on and so forth. So I've been on opposite sides pushing projects through on the opposite side of the table that I'm looking to seek right now, in front of City Council, in front of administrative hearing panels, city commissioners, planning commissions, and other development services. So for the past 50 years, property values on the peninsula have been doubling about every 10 years. As the Silicon Valley grew and formed the peninsula we know and love today, I brought the best and brightest people to the Bay Area. They settled and started businesses like Apple, Google, Facebook, Netflix, Yahoo, LinkedIn, and many others. And now the best and brightest live in Silicon Valley, and all the big companies have to come here for the talent. People strive to live closer to where they work, so they didn't need to justify spending a quarter of their day just getting to work. Los Altos and all of the neighboring communities have enjoyed steady property value growth. Mountain View has doubled its price per square foot in the past 10 years, while Los Altos only grew about 30 to 50%. Homes are some of the largest investments that people make in their lifetimes. Their growth is one of the reasons why people buy property here. What makes Los Altos more desirable than our neighboring communities is that we have, we have large lots. We have large lots, steady house prices, proximity to work, great schools, and a low crime rate. The services Los Altos provides to its residents are there, but they are less compared to other cities. And Los Altos has, for a large part, been a little bit of a sleeper town. The combination of all of Los Altos' charms have allowed us to get away with minimal changes to increase development in our city for a very long time. But given the current state of affairs, we're not able to leave things to let sleeping dogs lie, so to speak. We're in a once-in-a-lifetime paradigm shift that no one is prepared for because this is unprecedented. And so given the current pandemic, we don't know how long these effects will last, and the whole world is essentially going to change. So a large chunk of, one of the big differences that's going to be happening in the near future is a large chunk of the work population will be able to work remotely. And cities can no longer rely on just being close to places. We'll be competing not only against our neighboring cities, but against more remote cities further away. Since telecommuting is now the new normal, and will be for the foreseeable future, we need to provide more services and expand what we offer to the residents. So with that said, the local businesses that we have are struggling, as all the other candidates have mentioned. And the Chamber of Commerce in Los Altos has been trying to bolster it with grants. The federal government has given grants as well. But until we connect businesses to customers, they won't be able to stay afloat. We can't just give businesses more money without providing a solution for how they're going to pay money back or to be able to move forward. So Open Streets of Los Altos is a great start, but we need to do a lot more. We need to incentivize more small businesses to be able to stay open. And with that said, to be able to provide more space for them and to provide more parking. So there's many ways of doing this, and I'm open to many different ideas, whether it's a parking structure, rotating parking garages, or something else that will not be an eyesore, but will still allow businesses to operate. And with that said, if we increase businesses downtown, increase revenue from that, and increase property values by providing more services, the revenue of the city will increase and we'll be able to take on more projects. And so if we organically generate more income as a city, we'll be able to afford more services to provide to the residents. So the more attractive the city is with its services, the more people want to live here. And this way, it also protects the investments of all of the residents. So this sort of segues into the housing situation in California, where the state's requiring that we provide more housing, and they added teeth to the newest bill. So this kind of prompts the quote, "Lord, grant me the strength to change the things that need changing, the patience to live with things that cannot be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference. We cannot be an ostrich that buries its head in the sand. We can either decide on the change and be in the driver's seat, and decide which way we're going to go and how we're going to do more development, or it can happen without our say-so, because it'll be forced upon us. I personally, as my stance, I believe that ADUs and urban villages are a great answer to the housing requirements, because what it does is it gives each resident the opportunity to decide if they would like to have additional density, while at the same time in already existing commercial areas, providing residents above commercial and business ventures, so to speak. It will provide its own self-sustaining growth, and people will be able to come down, frequent the businesses, and then live nearby, thus not requiring additional parking. So I'll leave this with a quote: "Life is an escalator moving down. If you stop, you decline. If you slowly progress, you stay in place. You have to run to get ahead." So we need to do all of this to move forward. If elected, I promise to devote all the time and effort needed to serve the needs of the community and listen to the residents and businesses, and vote for policies that best suit the needs of the city moving forward for decades. I'll be a team player. I will work to move policies forward, and I'll work at getting consensus when possible with my other council members, but we'll strive to change the things that need changing in a very conscious way that doesn't deter from what makes Los Altos wonderful. I thank you so much for your time. I apologize for the technological glitches. I'm going to mute myself.
All right, thanks, Alex. And thanks for hanging in there, everybody, and through whatever technical difficulties. This is the Zoom world we live in nowadays, I guess. But so with that, I'd like to thank all the candidates for taking the time to share their views with the chamber and the community here. I was going to turn it back to Kim. Any last minute or last announcements you'd like to make, as we normally do during our Government Affairs Committee?
Sure. Just a reminder to our candidates that the chamber does hold a separate candidate endorsement program that will be managed in the coming weeks. So we'll invite you to attend interviews with representatives from our business community and our board of directors as a part of that program and endorsement program. We have other events that are coming up. You can check our website. We have a networking event this afternoon. And I believe that's all I have as far as announcements today, but thank you so much. Thank you to each of our candidates for sharing your platform and giving us the opportunity to meet each of you individually. And thank you to our business owners, representatives, and members of our community for attending and joining in this important session as we move towards the 2020 election. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.